you cannot handle real work, reality talk, 80+ language, simply skip the video.
Monday, vlog number 67 I think, or 68. I actually never know 100% for sure, but I had a couple of thoughts anyway. At the moment I'm walking towards the calisthenics spot in the forest next to Knazevo, and this is the thing, look, there was a lot of water the past days. You can see it. Wow, it's actually nice, right? When I look at it, I'm going to show you a little bit before we're getting in all the stuff. Oh, it's actually very nice, right? Whoa, look at the trees on the top. Whoa, you know, imagine sitting in the tree over there swinging like this. Mamma mia. Anyway, beautiful, right? So yeah, what did we do? So much stuff. So vlog number, let's say vlog number 67, and we keep on going strong. Little insight about my vlogging journey, you know, and because, you know, this whole vlogging journey, I'm very transparent about everything, right? So let's assume you haven't seen my previous vlogs, and my name is dotcombaron, aka, just Google it, dotcombaron. I'm a growth strategist for the mind and businesses, mostly lead generation, leads nurturing, and conversion and building audiences. But now I'm 46, I'm getting into this vlogging, daily vlogging, and it's simply for my personal gain. Why? Because it really makes me even more aware of my own words. It makes me aware of my body language. It makes me aware of my tonality. And next to that, you know, all the shorts, you know, thousands of views, you know, all together every week, thousands of views. Not only here on YouTube, also on Rumble. Rumble I don't upload shorts, and it's still without the Instagram distribution because I'm building now the whole stack of reels that I want to schedule on Instagram, so extra quote-unquote promotion. But this is the thing, every day when I just say something, strategies, mindsets, red flags to keep your circle clean, and this is only, let's also a little bit make this clear, if you the first time over here, you know, my vlogs are simply for people who want to prosper in life, and or in very shitty situations and you want to get out of it, and for people who simply want to get out of the 9 to 5 but also are willing to put in the work, especially in the beginning. But I make it so much easier than and accessible than a lot of other people actually do these days online. And I'm not charging anything because I don't believe that, you know, those $97 courses, you know, if those people really need the $97, their strategies are not as good as they say. That is my personal perspective on this. Knowledge, you know, should be given away for free, especially when it sets people free. And anyways, you know, the amount of action takers is maybe 1%, you know, the real action takers, and then you got the people who push it through. There's even less. You know, I talk many times about normal business people. They leave so much money on the table, you don't want to know. It makes me always very sick. And they never, the small, or let's say it like this, business owners or people who start a little bit of business, they have the intention of something, and I never understood, and still never understand, why they don't want to, you know, increase their yield of profit with the same amount of time that they already put in. You know, they all forget about the lead collection, the lead nurturing, the lead conversion, you know, and that is sometimes very frustrating for me. But that is another reason that I do these vlogs, because it works compounding. And when I was younger, even 5 years ago, I would sit down with people for 5 hours, bam, just overload them with so much possibilities for their business, and in the end they don't do anything. Only a tiny percentage did, but the amount of energy that goes into people, you know, and that's another thing. A lot of people are so stuck to the traditional normal business thing. You give me money, I give you product and or service. That's it. Finito. Well, that's not how it works in real life. You know, in real life we build connections, we provide value. And I also said this before, you know, one person from Bulgaria actually, he built an email list, but he only sends out promotional stuff, you know. It's just a brochure, and we all know what happens when you receive a brochure in the mailbox. It ends up, let's say, more than 90% ends up in the trash can. So, and that is also another thing. So you can collect your leads, but if you don't know even how to convert or nurture them, and the 3 levels: collection, nurture, conversion, and each section requires a lot of experience, knowledge, and yeah, now those two go hand in hand. But as you know, to get people to understand this, see, it's like a lot of people also don't want to do sales. They just want to thrive, and that's it. No, not to even thrive, just maintain, so they can pay the bills, they can buy the new stock, and that's it, over. And why do I say over? Well, you know, every business that has the possibility to do under, most small businesses do under 1 million, you know, clean net profit. We don't talk. We're not even getting in. We're not talking about revenue. Even on revenue, a lot of small would not even reach it. But the thing is, you know, when it's about collecting leads, it's so far from people, their mindset, that they're also not even willing, you know, to put 5 minutes thoughts into this. A lot of people. I'm not over here to try to make sales, but this is, I'm in Bulgaria. People do very traditional stuff over here, but you know, I see people, the majority of people who sit in their vegetable stores, in their old and normal stores, you know, the time that they spend over there to do the stock, making a little. No, they don't make sales. They just hand over the products. They're not even busy with making sales. They're just, you know, handing over the product. That's another thing. Even to get a higher conversion, you know, is also body language, tonality, everything, energy, and never ever lower your energy because of let's say a grumpy client, you know, because this is the thing. I talked about with multiple people what I did in the past. Very tiny thing. I glued a coin on the counter and people scratched on it. But this is the thing. Small thing, people talk about it. Everything is emotion. Everything is emotion. People forget about you, your store, but little tiny things stick in their mind. Still in Holland people talk about my coins, and not only about on the counter, also in the bar, you know, in multiple places we did this. And the thing is, I always, of course, put in the energy, you know, make a joke. Some people wanted to steal it and say, hey, is everything okay over there? And just with a funny thing, you know, you put, hey, you're not over there to punish people on bad behavior, just try to make them feel good, and then they giggle a little bit. Never forget that emotion brings a lot of, you know, positive emotion, you know, not negative emotion, but emotion in general brings a lot of human, how would I say this, connection. That's the connection. You want to make connection with people. And when it's about lead collection, lead nurturing, that's how you communicate emotion, value. You know, what can they get from you? You know, everybody thinks like this: how can I benefit when I interact with this business or interact with this person? See, in the end, everybody wants something. Me, the only thing that I want is to give as much as I can, and that's why I am never asking for anything. I don't expect anything. I see. I went through a lot of stuff, so I did used to be in some sort of expectation. You know, I had the dumbass perspective on people that everybody would have the same intention, the same discipline, the same skill set as they would say. But I confused emotion with emotion, and it's simply a temporarily normal people thing. Oh, I'm so excited. And a very simple example, I had one quote-unquote friend of mine. He started working, he got from the daily thing 30%. It's a lot of money, too much money, and then after a couple of weeks he started crying next to the door. Yeah, but it's never good enough. No, of course not, it's never good enough. This is real life. He was a normal car salesman. Walks around in Holland. Not for an exclusive luxury car thing, just a normal car thing. And the thing is, then he's whining and grinding. But he will grow up also as like a little bitch, you know. But anyway, this is not to rant or get emotional about him. It's about that you have to be very, very careful. And that's why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. And that's why I'm showing the things on my daily vlogs. And I'm showing you that I'm just walking around. No, okay, I'm walking between training and walking between meetings. And yes and no, I don't film everything because not everybody wants to be on camera. And when it's about dating and that kind of stuff, definitely not going to put them on the camera because one day they're going to be exes. You know how that works. And the thing is, no, that's why, in case you little sneaky one thinks, yeah, but Darwin, we don't see everything. Well, there are okay, that's a different topic. The thing is, where was I? What started I with? About my vlogging journey, lead collection, lead nurturing. Yeah, everybody wants something, and when it's about anything in life, the only thing you need to do is to set boundaries. That's what I believe in. Set boundaries so people, in my case, don't come too late, don't whine and grind about bullshit stuff, or mention it once and they say, yeah, what do you think about this? Solution number 1. What do you think about that? Solution number 2. What do you think about this, Darwin? See, then we have a conversation, and I'm always willing to help people who are willing to help themselves. But always, show people who are more experienced, more skilled, and definitely more disciplined, show them that you put it at least some effort, some thought in it, and then you ask, can I do this? And even better, the higher level people, they came up with the so-called solutions, and then they tried it, and then, then you talk about real life tryouts, and then you can really easily adjust things. And like I said, if you're in a very shitty situation and or mental situation, then just reach out. Been there, done that, and I led a very colorful life the past 46. And if I really start opening the book of life, of my life, then yeah. But it's not what we're gonna do today. Anyway, when it's about giving people value, give people the right energy. If you're all the time tired, how are you gonna make sales? No, here you got your product, give me the money. Or make it a little bit more entertaining. How are we doing today, god damn it? Easy to ask. But normally I'm not the kind of guy who asks how are you doing. That's normal people talk. I always ask, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you going? And then you build conversation, a little bit connection. But let's say you are not as comfort in your own skin or in your own store that you still have that, hey, that's also something, because people can also think, yeah, what a nosy guy. You know, you have to play around with this. I always do it like this, especially with new people. You know, I would say, yeah, what are you doing now? And then I always end very quickly. Yeah, none of my business, but hey, you can always say no. I don't want to tell you. See, like this. But I also did this so many times. It sounds maybe a little bit weird on the camera, but if you would see me doing it in real life, nobody actually ever told me, no, I'm not going to tell you. You know, I always try to give it a little bit of funny twist, but also I'm very serious interest in a lot of people. I'm very honest about this. And so I'm very obsessed just with meeting people, talking with people. And you know what? In the beginning I was also nervous. You know, I just excel at talk, especially when, you know, when it's about women. And when it's about women, I'm still single, by the way, at the moment. The thing is, when it's about women, some women, when they make me extremely nervous, you know, uncomfortable, I don't know what, and I'm 46, but you know, there are specific women with their hand, I don't know, with extinguished features in their face and a little bit higher energy than normally, and yeah, and when, especially when they, actually this morning, I have one that I would say, yeah, you make me pretty nervous. Anyway, we're not getting into this. Where was I? Bring value, bring energy, bring positive energy, and try to become some sort of an example, right? For your brothers, your sisters. You know, work on yourself mentally. Try to work on your speaking. Try to work on your physique, how you look like. Try to work on your skin. Try to work on everything. You know. And let's put in this disclaimer for the people who say, yeah, you know, yeah, you ugly fuck. The thing is, I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm just doing my best with the tools that the guy upstairs gave me. That's it. You know, everybody, okay, not everybody, but there's a tiny percentage that doesn't. Everybody had limbs, you know, organs, lungs, eyes, voices, and again, for the people who don't have, I understand, but there's always something that you can work with, right? And by the way, you have also those motivational speakers, right? They lost all their limbs, and you know, there's always a way. There's always a way to reach out, you know. That's also something with my vlogging journey. It's now way much easier to tell people when people come to me, and they're a little bit more interested. I'm going to give you one simple example. The people in the local supermarket, they ask me, or they watch my training videos, you know. It's very nice, actually. Thank you for this, actually. When you watch, then thank you for that. But you know, not only in the supermarket, the butcher, people, when they see something, I can just build so much extra, let's say, quote-unquote trust. Yeah, he's doing it, you know. And also when I talk about business things, they can just see my real character. I'm not the guy who says, keep personal and business, you know, the character, you know, those people at daytime they walk around in suits and smile the whole day, and at in the evening to put on a jogging thing like I do when it's not so hot, you know. No, this is what you get. The way I speak, the way I move, the way I train, this is what I'm doing every day, just to provide as much value as I can to the people who actually want to live a life of freedom. I do everything from the phone. Everything. But I also optimize my time. So for example, when I travel to here in the tram, I do all kind of stuff. You know, I do my chats, I do my things on the VPS, the RDP, that actually does the exporting of multiple reels now at the moment. So constantly. So I optimize all my movements every single day. You know, the amount of work that I do on a single day, you know, is for a lot of people not even possible in 1 week. And I'm not bragging over here. A lot of things is also AI powered, and next to that a lot of things are automated, and love it. So that is the kind of value I can bring to the table for the people who want to do more in life. People who are struggling a little bit in life, you can do a talk with me, and I'm not charging anything like those consultancy people, because I got more than enough energy. But you know, let's do a little bit a warning. Do not come with complaints, and that you didn't do any then also that you didn't put any work into it to solve things, and then I have to listen to all the garbage. I know one Spanish teacher. He said, yeah, a lot of people. He is an online teacher, and he said a lot of people talk about their personal shit. Yeah, so they use you as a garbage can, and they dump their thoughts, the negative thoughts, and that's it. And that is something to think about. Do you want to listen to other people, the garbage all the time? Oh, I'm so sad. Oh, I'm so weak. Yeah, well, good for you. Been there, done that. But I've been there, done that when I was very, very, very young. And I'm gonna give you one example. I gave it before. I spent a little bit time outside, outside. Let's say my parents in Holland, and they also gone. But the thing at the moment, they're already gone for 16 years. But when I first had to go somewhere else for 3 weeks, people came in the night, pushing me bananas in the face, and still, So I'm giving you a little bit of insight that I'm used to a lot of stuff, mental fucks, and that mental fucks are just. And also, we had to fight for our pillow to keep it on the bed, and in the evening. And trust me, I wasn't violent and or aggressive at all. But at one point, I started smelling it, because once I ran away, and then my father also said, if you don't get back, and that turned around a lot of stuff. So he actually said, if you don't turn around and beat up the guy, then I will beat you up. And from that moment, I took care of business, and that was an incident. I think around 8. And the thing is, that released. I could smell it, and that was of course not a good thing. And like I said, I lived a very colorful life, and then I smelled it. Sometimes, and that people's, let's say, fear. I lived for multiple years like that. Fear above love. And at the moment, I'm in a state of mind at 46. I prefer to give as much love to people, genuine love of interest, and not like in a gay way or whatever. Genuine curiosity, genuine trying to help people without actually asking for anything, mental, business-wise. I got a lot of storage that baggage that I'm in peace with, and I can really, really articulate and anticipate on people, their problems. Because in general, and with all the respect, I had very extreme ones, so any kind of problem that you would deal with, I could give you advice, mindset wise, maybe even solve the problem. I solved a lot of problems for people, and I still do. And I'm very, 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 very much more, let's say, I set the boundaries, because before I solved so many problems for people that got me in problems. That's also something. When it's about all the red flags that I'm mentioning, it's just to keep yourself safe, and it's only for people who have a little bit higher level of energy, because you attract the opposites, a lot of opposites, the bad ones a lot, and the good ones, but you have to filter them. And now at 46, I have my filters and my own personal boundaries in place. If people lying is for me, you lost all respect from me. But I will still talk normal to you. But the thing is, lying is number uno. Number uno. I also don't like lazy people. Complaining is even, complaining, constant negative spitting. That people use you like a garbage can. Oh, this is so bad, that is so bad. And then the next time again, then I keep a little bit distance, because there's something wrong. But in general, you can see it on how they walk, how they present themselves, right? Physically, how they look like, and with all the respect, the majority of people who do complain, you can see it from the outside. You can see it from the outside, and I'm not getting into the physical things because I don't want to disrespect anybody, but you can see it from the outside who is willing to complain. Because I do believe discipline, relentless discipline, people who are putting in the work every single day, you don't have time to think about all the negativity in the world, what's the news, and say, oh, in the Middle East and this goes bananas. And you know what? We have to be careful because, yeah, within a few years the world will be gone. Well, if the world will be gone, I got nothing to worry about, because if it's anyways going, it's going. You know, we go with the flow. Those don't force things. Also, I don't force anything. If I really think about it, and I also mentioned this before, and when it's about relationships, all my exes, they know that I always, when they want to go out, go fucking out. You know, I never claim anybody, never claim another human being. Like I mentioned before, in maybe 3 days ago, everybody has their own universe going on, and most people don't understand themselves. Me also, I don't. You know, I'm still working on it every day. Everybody has their own things going on, so you can never really claim. You get maybe a little bit attached. You get a little bit this chemical thing in your head going on. You get very fond of somebody. I'm so love, and I would never cheat. Oh, okay. You never went out of the country. You never even left anything. So you never spent time without each other. And well, you know what I'm trying to say. Takes only a few months, then you get rid of this chemical thing in the brain that says, I'm so in love, we're gonna die together. Yeah. Anyway, this is nothing against people who are, and that they have this connection going on. But you know, if you travel a lot, or you did travel a lot, you understand. You know. But if you have a great connection with another person, when I go into, let's say, a committed relationship, I am 100%. I could go outside the country. You know, like I said, I had multiple exes in the adult industry, also in the entertainment industry. I've seen a lot of stuff. I never got over there as a paying client. Never underestimate that, because I do believe that's also a sign of weakness. People who need to pay, you know, and that is a whole different topic. But you know, weakness is never good. Also, to keep people around you who are talking about weakness, never. Don't keep them along your side. And if you somehow attached to them, family members or whatever, just ban it out of your head. Get a real clear view on what you want. Set your goals, milestones in between, and there's a whole mental thing. Especially when, hey, I'm gonna give you an example. When it's about my vlogging, you know, every day I need to do it, because I could have set the goal for every week. You know, I didn't see the purpose, and I also don't see what it would do for me personally if you do it every 7 days. There is not hammering on the thing. And also, see, there's another thing about my daily vlogging. I already talk with multiple companies, and also when I talk with people can see, you know, it's a daily thing. People do, and it's not about me. People do respect something that is consistently done, that they can see there is discipline. And when it's overdone, you know, then they can, you know, like this, you build very quickly trust. I built very quickly trust, not only because the way I move, the way I talk, and which is also not has something that I did all my life. But yeah, I mentioned this also before. You know, I start and selling my bicycle clean service in the weekends, and not only in the weekends. At one point, also after school, cleaning bicycles, knocking on door, and then play around with the body language, and to convert more people, and then you get back to the same clients, etc., etc. But it's a whole different story. You know, people like to see something that says, no, this guy is consistent. You know, let's another example. My, let's say that I drink every day beer. Is that a great thing to do though? No, not really. But my day starts every day 5:15. I think I always deserve myself that I always deserve at the end of the day. Couple of beers. Now, nobody dies from this. And while I'm drinking beer, I talk with people and I still do my stuff. I just get a little bit an onload of my pushing it every single day. And most of it I record. No, not most of it. Let's say 1/3. And maybe even 1/4. So, if you watch, and if you didn't subscribe yet, just help me out, people. Subscribe. What else can I say very quickly now? Because I promised before the training videos, you know, and I'm doing the voiceover over those videos, but I still need to do. I got 4 videos ready to go. Somehow the training videos get way much more views, which is nice. At one point everything gets pulled up, you know, and I said also, you know, if I go off the planet, then the vlogs will stop, and then I get even more views. So subscribe, and what is the other thing on YouTube? Subscribe, thumbs up, or thumbs down. Maybe you don't like me, maybe anyway. Any kind of emotion is good. Like, don't like, and hit the notification bell. And now I'm going to train. I need to unload a little bit my brain, so and like every day I'm busy since 5:15, so bam, non-stop, every single day. And somebody asked me this morning, when do you don't train? 5 times a year, maybe 7 times I don't do anything. That also doesn't include that also includes no running, no calisthenics, no boxing on the thing. I do a little bit, but the boxing thing is now more to stay a little bit in the aesthetic physique. At 46, that's it. Do some video calls and walk, and I've never been on this spot. Look, I want to share this, so you don't have to get on the plane all the way to Sofia, Bulgaria. Look. Wow. I love water, by the way. I don't know if you haven't seen my previous vlogs. You know, we lived in Mjar, Gozo, in the harbor. You know, I always loved water. Still do. But this is of course not the sea, but I really love water. And what do I like about it? It's so massive. It's uncontrollable. Although that's also not 100% true, because in Holland, I'm from Holland, we control the water somehow, somewhat. But in the end, if nature says let's go totally nuts, then we all understand. But anyway, it's very uncontrollable, right? It goes and flows. And somehow I saw once a video that's about that all water on the planet is one big organism. And this is an interesting thought, right? But I'm not a biologist or whatever. I'm just mentioning one post that I saw about, and it made me, yeah, you know. I do believe that life is all about energy. That's how you also connect with people, right? Ah, something in my fucking. Anyway, you know, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, nice place, right? I would love to make a little bit of video and drink over there like an animal, you know, from the water, but I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. I don't. Oh, it's a butterfly. I don't know if you can see it. That was sitting on my head. Anyway, look at this. Would be interesting, right? There would be a couple of monkeys, but there are no monkeys. So I think it's a beautiful thing, right? You definitely want to see something like this. Look, this is actually beautiful, right? Woohoo! And you're the lucky one who can see this. Eh? It's beautiful, right? Phew. I could actually set up a little bit a working spot, you know. But now I don't want to, but I'm gonna make a Google Maps point on this one, because I don't know if I'm gonna remember this. I think I do, but this is nice, eh? Look, I could sit over there, work from here. Whoa. Today it's a nature video. Hoo-hoo. And you don't want to be here at night, right? Not that I'm some kind of poopy pants, but you also want to avoid problems. Totally irrelevant thought, but I always think like this. You know, at daytime it's beautiful, and at night, and or with rain and snow, then it's, yeah, you know, then the elements really start hitting you on the head. Not only that, in the winter you would freeze. And why do I say this? Well, that makes me very aware of the fact that I do have tonight again a roof above my head, a pillow, blankets, everything. I'm living in an Airbnb. In this Airbnb, I started living in this Airbnb since not my last ex, but one ex from last year, which I stayed with for 8 months, and then I went to this Airbnb. No, I'm actually 10 months already, because I talked about it yesterday. And the thing is, nature is beautiful, but it can also be very cruel, you know. Especially when you don't have a roof above your head. I appreciate those things, really. As you know, I lost 3 times pretty much everything, so I did spend some time outside. But no disrespect to the homeless people, but you know, I didn't spend so much time outside, but I spent a good amount of time, let's say it like this. And the thing is, also when it's about the calisthenics, you know, and that I had to train for 6 hours just to stay warm, otherwise I couldn't stay warm. So I have a lot of connection with calisthenics. That's why, you know, I'm very, very addicted to also, because no matter what, calisthenics gives me the peace. You know, normal people go sit with their family, sit on the dinner table, talk a little bit about this and this, feel comfortable. But yeah, those things are not for me anymore, and doesn't matter. I'm just sharing it so you can be a little bit more grateful for all the things that you have. You know, some people don't have all those nice things that you have. And on the other hand, you know, I live a life of very, very freedom. I don't have to be here in Bulgaria, but I want to be here. And that's not the only thing, you know. Freedom to sit over here on this spot and do the whole day work, if I want. Or I do it from the bus. And now we're getting to a point that I'm doing everything from the phone, not from a laptop, because you're not gonna flap the laptop open on all the places that I do. No. I worked on laptops until maybe 1.5 years ago, maybe already 2 years ago. The thing is, when I talk with other people, they say straight away, you know, no, it's not possible for me. How many times did you try? And did you even thought about it to do it only from the phone? Most people don't. And most people say also very quickly, no, I cannot. No, I will not. Not even with and this is another thing, when they say cannot or will not, because of my wife, because of my children. It's not because they say I never put the work in because I'm lazy. I never put the thought in because nobody actually talked about it. Then you're honest, you know. It's good to be honest, people. When you're as true as possible, as close as possible to reality, your life becomes very, very exciting. And when people ask me how many hours do you sleep? No, 6 max. When I do 8, sometimes when I have my crash days, you know, every 5 or 7 days I crash, then I sleep for 8 hours, but I'm also totally messed up then, and I had hyper, and you know, like a bull in those cages, you know, and I'm ready to, but also that's how my mind feels, so I do, yeah, so 6 hours, 5 hours max, 6, 5 is good, and then I crash after 5 or 7 days, but it's good, you know. People always say, yeah, you need always good rest, that keeps your body, I don't know what. Well, you can see my TikTok videos, you know, I don't know what they're talking about. And also when it's about the powders and the whey and the creatine, all not necessary, people. The only thing you need is discipline, and just live as close as possible to reality, and be honest to yourself in the fucking first place, and keep your word to yourself. I mentioned this also yesterday. Keep your word to yourself in the first place. The rest will follow. And of course, a lot of people will unfollow, especially when you become realer and realer than real. But always with the highest level of respect that is in your possibilities at the moment and in your understanding. You know, not everybody understands how to do it because the life experience is not there yet. And you have to simply admit that you don't know actually anything, like I do. In the end of the day, I will always say, who the fuck am I? I'm nobody. And nobody's perfect. Haha. Anyway, I'm gonna close this clip, little back and look back, and don't do this too much in life. Don't look too much back. Also not too much in front of you. Live in the moment. Now things need to be done. Now you need to make the decisions. And of course there are processes, but you can put in the work daily. I have processes going on, you don't want to know, that I have to put in the mental work every single day. And the end result, still unknown. We do have a mutual goal with multiple people, so that is good. To have multiple souls on board, 100% souls, you know, that is also something. And that's why I always say keep your circle clean, because when things go bananas, or in their life things go bananas, are you all of a sudden too busy? You know, I cannot pick up the phone now because now let's come up with somebody else, my wife. And cowards, men who use children and wives as an excuse, cowards, simply cowards. Just say I didn't manage my time very well because, and let's also put a real life example. I know people with multiple people with children between 5 and 10. That is the amount of children with multiple wives, and they're always capable of picking up a phone and run multiple businesses and a lot of other things. How is that possible? Simply just try to manage things better. Look at your own life, the processes. Could you do things a little bit faster? You know, some people take 10 minutes to put on their fucking shoes. Well, if you do this every day, on and off, and I don't know, you're busy half an hour a day with taking off and on your shoes the whole, yeah, you know, it's a waste of time. Just a very simple example. Anyway, another beautiful view, and then we're gonna close. Oh, there's a jacket over there. 4 jackets. The whole day there will be water going through his, I would say, veins, but that's, you understand what I mean. Anyway, we going down and we go back to the center, to the concrete jungle, from the green jungle with all the birds and the bees and insects. I'm not gonna say other kind of animals because I don't want to jinx myself that I get mauled by, don't say it. No, I don't think that those animals are over here, but there are somewhere in Bulgaria those things. Again, I don't mention the name because, and then all of a sudden one pops up. Anyway, ciao for now.